Hi, Vasant. Oh, you're joining in from office, it seems.
The background is only office. I'm working from home only.
Oh, okay. That's great. That's great. So, Mani sir, should we get started?
Please go ahead.
Okay, great. So, let me first. Okay, so we are recording it now. Okay, fine. So, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining in this event on higher education in India, the way forward. This is a joint event between Bombay Management Association and TMI community. We are pleased to welcome you all. Thanks for joining in. Today we have Professor Mani with us. Professor Mani is President of Bombay Management Association and he is also Vice President of Institutional Development at ITM Group. Mani sir, as he is, known to people around, he is an active, I would say, professional in the field of management as well as in education, and uh, he has been in the industry for almost 3 decades plus now. So Mani sir is very well connected within industry, academia, and we are pleased to have him as president of Bombay Management Association. So welcome Mani sir. Thanks for sharing uh, your thoughts and then helping us shape up this event, and we look forward to your guidance and your insights on this topic. So
Thanks,
we get
Chintan.
going.
I'm happy to be here. Good evening, everybody.
Thanks, sir. So we formally get started. I have so today we are going to have a Jugalbandi with Mani sir, and I am going to talk on tech in EdTech. So how tech is benefiting the education sector and what are the trends. So we will have a quick overview of bigger presentation which I deliver. And then afterwards, Manish sir would be sharing his thoughts on what are the new things happening in the education domain. And then afterwards, we will have a fireside chat or AMA Ask Me Anything session with Manish sir. So let's get going. And I would start my talk, my portion, to set the context of this mini conclave with this presentation. Let me know when you are able to see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, great. Great. So today I'm going to deliver a talk on tech in EdTech. So how tech is playing an important role in enabling, uh, I mean, learning, education, and development in all aspects. So this development is not only limited to education institute, but also for corporates. So let's get going. You all know me well. So I'll not spend time here. Okay, so if you can just share your views, how do you see the ongoing pandemic? Is it boon or bane? We feel that together we have almost overcome the pandemic, but what do you feel? I mean, what was it for you? Was it a boon or a bane? How did you use it? What's on top of your mind? If you guys can just put it in your chat. I guess I'm not able to see the chat window because I'm presenting. So I'll need Mani sir's help. Mani sir, what is
So
the
for some of
audience
them,
feedback?
for some of them, it's been a learning experience. For some of them, it's a mix of both. but I guess most people believe it was 50-50. So I guess it's a boon and bane is
Gain
what
as well.
people are saying. Of
Right.
course, those who have been suffering business losses because of the pandemic situation would obviously say that it was certainly a problem for them. But nevertheless, I think more or less there is an opinion that it was a boon and a bane, and there are equal views on both.
Equal views on both the sides. So yes, definitely. And then I mean, all of us would agree that yes, technology now is playing a pivotal role to get us back on the track, and then that is how we are using more technology in terms of pre-COVID times to get back in shape, and technology is entering all domains, all aspects of our life. So let us formally begin our session, Tech in EdTech. If we see tech in EdTech, I mean EdTech, it is not a latest trend on the horizon. Tech in EdTech has always been there, and let us begin this thought with a historical perspective. So, radio entered classroom in year 1923. Projectors entered classroom in 1930. In a couple of American colleges, projectors were used to show movies and videos as a part of their curriculum. In 1933, silent clips were prepared, and they were being shown to students as a part of their curriculum. 1939, television entered classroom formally. In 1950, headphones came to our classroom, and headphone became a popular tool because many people could hear simultaneously. 1960, whiteboards entered classroom. Basic was invented in the year 1964, and it came to our classroom in year 1964. Calculators entered in our classroom in 1967. 1973, audio cassettes entered our classroom. Apple Macintosh was invented in 1984, and it entered classroom. So this is where computers started entering the classroom, and this was the kind of picture I just captured it for your ease of reference. Look at the disk, a hard disk or CPU, the size of the keyboard and the monitor. So these were the initial computers which were used in classrooms or universities for education purpose. CD-ROMs entered our classrooms, our education system is in year 1990. 1991, smart boards came into our classroom. So a couple of advanced colleges and universities in US started using these smart boards. Nowadays, we find these smart boards in our primary schools. 1994, internet formally entered our classrooms. And ever since then, it has been growing and changing our world. One of the recent survey conducted by World Economic Forum says that 60% of children entering school today will work in jobs that do not exist yet. So this is the kind of disruption we are going to have in the next 1,000 days. The next one is a study by Oxford Martin School of Economics, and they say that 47 of American job functions could be automated in 20 years from now. If you see, almost 47% of job will not be available with us. So new jobs are coming our way, new jobs are going to be invented. 100, I mean, as per a study by KPMG, 100 million global knowledge workers could be affected by robotic process automation by 2025. And with this ongoing pandemic, I feel that it is not 2025, but it could be 2023. And one of the research reports by OECD says that 5 to 10% of labor would be displaced by automation and new job creation, because we will have to go where our job takes us. One of the other A study conducted in US says that 81% of students have said that yes, technology has helped them improve their grades. 81%, equal number of percentage of students have said that tech has enabled improved their efficiency and effectiveness of study. And 69% of students have said that tech has helped them improve their focus. So definitely tech has become an important part in our education system now. Until now we spoke about US and other countries, but here is our example from India. And this was an article which was published while the pandemic was on in the month of April. And we can see that non-metros are really, I would say, uh, pursuing online education. And if you look at the kind of states, these are the remotest states, and then they are leaders in adopting online education. If you see, this article says user traffic on upgrade courses, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, Andaman Nicobar, Puducherry. So these are the remotest places which are getting benefit because of online education. So this is one of the proof we have for our local market. And we live in a world where robots are learning new skills every day. So what have you learned? So if you talk of Amazon Alexa has got more than 15,000 different skills. So they are actually learning new skills, new tricks are being programmed for such kind of robots or smart speakers every day. So what is going down? What is trending? What is going down? So learning mindset is going down. Here was gone are the days that we used to say, okay, fine, exam के लिए खाली prepare करना है. We used to prepare only for the exams. Gone are the days. No one has got that mindset. One size fits all learning. I mean, there was a time when a single professor used to teach 300 students. Gone are the days. पेपर बेस्ड प्रोसेस हर एक चीज के लिए हम लोग कागज के ऊपर कुछ फॉर्म भरा करते थे एंड ऑल. Traditional classrooms, they are the thing of past. Traditional libraries, probably everyone is moving towards digital libraries now. Libraries are available on cloud. One-way content delivery. Gone are the days when teachers used to speak for 2 hours and everyone used to listen and then make notes on the go. Time-based engagement. There is nothing like time-based engagement now. Earlier it was students and teacher will collaborate for certain period of time. Now student and teacher will collaborate for a longer period, and then there would be a better collaboration. Exam oriented learning, we discussed that. I mean, no one is learning or teaching only for the sake of exam. Peer competition, this is not the standard where the society where people are competing against each other. And one time learning. So एक बार graduation कर लो फिर बाद में lifetime चलेगा. Gone are the days we have moved on from these kind of days. So these are the things which are going down. But then what is going up? Growth mindset. You want to learn different skills. You want to go deep into the subject. You want to grow in the subject. Okay, personalized learning based on the skills, and then analytics captured with way of various tests and scenarios. Personalized learning is being delivered. Different types of analytics per student is available. Connected campuses are available. Internet is available across the campus. No, nowadays, no longer internet is available only to limited area. Any student can work from anywhere when they are in the campus. Digital acceleration, BYOD, everyone brings their own device and then they wish to connect using their device. So there is no preference that you have to work using a laptop, you cannot work using a mobile or a tablet or something like that. Maker spaces, current generation wishes to work on different experiments. They like to collaborate and they like to make a working model. They would like to make a pilot of it. So maker spaces are on the rise. Digital reskilling is on the rise. Now everyone is trying to learn new skills which are in the digital age, like cloud compute, Python, any other programming languages. So one-time learning is thing of a past. Lifelong learning is something everyone has to pursue. Instead of competition, peer collaboration is the new keyword. It is let us connect and collaborate. That is the trend. It is not that I will be faster, quicker, and ahead than you. It is the coexisting, the collaboration mindset is on the rise. And last but not the least, micro learning courses which are less than 4 hours of duration are very popular and they are in demand. That is where people are able to upkeep their skills, existing skills, and acquire new skills very easily. Let us have a look at tech in EdTech, how technology is enabling new trends in the EdTech ecosystem. The first one is learn anywhere. So these days, students prefer to learn from anywhere. E-learning is the new normal, and these e-learning features have enabled us to deliver a borderless education. So borderless classroom. There is no borders to a campus. Anyone can learn from anywhere. Indian student can enroll into a foreign university and vice versa. Convergence of text, voice, and video has made it possible that you can connect anywhere and everywhere sitting at your comfort. It has expanded the horizon and taken the classroom to global stage. Now, education institutes are able to deliver new courses, collaborate with new faculties, and they are able to bring in new knowledge in the ecosystem. And smart learning has enabled the entire bouquet of services, and then people are able to learn from anywhere. So borderless classroom is something that is a keyword to look for. Collaborate anywhere. People like to collaborate from anywhere. While someone may be in the class, someone may be sitting in some library, someone may be in a canteen, someone may be at home, someone may be in transit. Even though you should be able to collaborate, and that is where new collaboration tools, voice, video, whiteboards, shared documents, shared drives, all these are enabling collaboration on the go everywhere. Next one is social media as an enabler. So gone are the days when only students were accessing social media after college hours. Now, if people like your session, then they like to tweet stating that, yes, hey, I like this session, or I have got this interesting case study to discuss. And that is how students are using social media extensively. Teachers were not available on social media. Now everyone, all teachers are also available on social media. New communities are being formed on topics. Teachers are able to connect with other teachers across the world. Now social media has become a part of the learning process, and it has become one of the default medium of interaction. All of us are part of different WhatsApp groups with our students for ease of our communication. And this is what is a classic example. Education institutes also have a presence on different social media platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Simple reason, everyone would like to be where their stakeholders are. And last but not the least, all faculties have also have become media savvy. Next trend is immersive learning. We remember more as and when we are put into a immersive environment, when we are able to visualize things and we are able to play with the scenario. We can experiment. So that is where immersive learning is the next trend in EdTech. It not only grabs the attention, but also it enables us to deliver scenario-based learning. It is playful, it can be repeated multiple times, there is no waste, and then the quality of learning also improves by adoption of immersive learning. Next trend is gamification. Gamification enhances student engagement. It drives behavioral data change. Different games are put in as a part of the curriculum so that students compete against each other as team, and then they are put into a scenario where uh, their engagement level is increased, and then the teacher, the faculty gets the feedback via a dashboard on based on the level of the game or the progress. It also helps us remove the fear of failure, because if someone fails in certain level, then he can again restart the game and then appear in that specific game once again. And then gamification is such a flexible tool that any subject can be gamified, and then it can also boost team spirit. So gamification is the next tool to watch out for. Cybersecurity, we are using a lot of internet and various gadgets, devices, wearables all around. So that is where it is imperative that we must have a cyber security awareness and then exchange of best practices among faculties and students. I would recommend that there has to be a cyber security council within the college, wherein faculty as well as students should be part of it to propagate the awareness of cybersecurity. As far as the data is concerned, there are different ways we are getting attacked by cyber hackers and scamsters. So that is where it is really necessary in current times to have a cybersecurity council, and then there has to be cybersecurity experts, faculties and students who should be part of the organization. And then there has to be regular meetings wherein the cybersecurity expert should be able to tell the team about the new developments, and the team should be able to take the message or the new developments across the stakeholders. In our ecosystem, we deal with different types of data like personal data, proprietary data. So it becomes very necessary to protect all this data, and most important thing is right data should be provided to the right person. So that is where the data protection is also becoming an important aspect. We also need to maintain our systems, our gadgets free from virus, any spyware, any ransomware, and any malware. And definitely the awareness would help us enhance the hygiene of our devices, our network, and hence we would be able to deliver a worry-free experience, a threat-free experience. And definitely such kind of steps would help us get GDP, the compliance to the law like GDPR. Anytime soon, India also going to have a equivalent framework of GDPR. There are new tools in the classroom now: interactive screens, videos, online test engines, virtual reality labs, virtual labs for chemistry and other subjects, chatbots. So new tools have entered the classroom. Analytics, different types of analytics are being captured throughout the academic institute and throughout the class, be it ideas, various data, brainstorming sessions, different management practices, different strategies. And that is where entire I would say ecosystem of analytics helps us measure and automate the engagement, learning and performance. So how technology is empowering teaching and learning. With help of technology, we are able to actively engage with learning material. We are able to use real world examples, incorporate video, incorporate high resolution picture, incorporate movies into our curriculum. We are able to do simulation and modeling, so it becomes really easy for the student to visualize what kind of scenario is being taught. Discussion boards and debate forums have made it possible to collaborate and discuss topics 24 by 7. With working groups or even WhatsApp groups at a smaller scale, we are able to collaborate in a more better way. Faculties are able to mentor and then do assessment digitally. So this is the way technology is empowering teaching and learning. During this pandemic, the new opportunities have immersed in online education. I would just name few like popularity of micro courses which are having less than 4 hours of duration. Student acceptance. Students have started accepting online medium as the de facto medium. Collaboration, collaborative learning, single app for all activities. Like if you download one single app of edX, you are good to go. You have got lot many education materials, and then entire experience can be delivered through the single app itself. Simulation based learning. New simulations are being adopted in our classroom, in our curriculum. Gamification, new gamification tools are coming our way. Design thinking is being used as a necessary tool to improvise the education experience. Open education, all major institutes have started delivering open education. Anyone residing in any geography can enroll in such courses. Recently, IIT and IIMs have started courses online. IIT Madras has started a data science course, and anyone across the country can enroll into this course. So this is one of the example. The environment is also such. So like mobile devices are widely available, internet is cheaper, affordable data is available, and e-commerce is definitely delivering things to our doorstep in less than 100 hours time. Online assessment. So there is no need for anyone to go to exam hall. You can appear in any exam from comfort of your home itself. So digital proctoring is also in demand, and it is a proven technology now. There is a golden opportunity for entrepreneurs in this EdTech environment. A lot of funding is available. Everyone is moving towards a digital transformation of the entire ecosystem of education. The user acceptance is there. Now people would wish to continue to learn online. That is where the entire market is getting disrupted. Entire digital ecosystem is on the rise. New immersive technologies are creating new experience. A couple of months ago, our Indian telecom player Jio has launched Jio virtual reality glasses. Soon we would have different education modules on virtual reality. There is regulatory support. New education policy is encouraging and enabling institutes and new companies to upgrade and contribute their bit in advancement of the society, the education system. Uniform access, internet is available all across. So using internet, you can reach out to any Indian citizen, and definitely consultants like me and experts like Mani sir are already available, who are vouching for digitization of the entire ecosystem. I mean, there are tools. So there are multiple opportunities now. Conferencing apps, podcast companies who are coming to EdTech. Terrestrial radios are being used by different countries now. There are education channels like, I mean, on Tata Sky, there are a couple of dedicated education channels for education. There are multiple resources for the teacher for the upkeep of their knowledge. There are different forums available for teachers. Open education system, reskilling platforms are on the rise, and online assessment tools are widely available. And then they are, they are indeed making a difference in our current ecosystem. Which are the technologies to watch out for? Artificial intelligence and machine learning is enabling tech in a big way. You are able to not only deliver customized education, but also able to uh, provide a customized curriculum, customized dashboard, or skill enhancement program for students. Virtual reality and augmented reality has enabled us to deliver ER, VR enabled immersive classroom, learning modules. Blockchain is not only helping us digitize the entire education system, right from admission to submission to protecting the IPR being generated in research environment in academia to issue of different credentials or certificates. to students. Cloud computing is enabling to deliver the entire experience anywhere. Wearables are coming into place, different smartwatches, different gadgets, IoT sensors, 3D printers, experience zones, as I say, maker labs, and touch screens. So, this is definitely enabling the education ecosystem to the next level. Now, just to sum up, how the tech in EdTech is serving as an enabler. So, tech makes teaching as a replicable experience. Tech helps, environment sustainability. There is zero wastage. It enables deliver a personalized learning. It also helps improve the student engagement and retention of the skill, enhancement of the skill. It, Tech has given us borderless classroom. Tech has given us anytime learning in a self-paced environment. And tech is always enabling us to deliver a better collaboration and teaming experience. So that is where I would say that education isn't a service anymore. Education has become an experience. We are required to deliver experience, and that experience can be delivered with use of technology. So that is where I end my talk, and thank you so much. These are my coordinates. So thanks everyone. What we do is we would take the question and answer towards the end of the session, and I would request Mani sir to share his views on the way forward of higher education in India. Over to you, Mani sir.
All right, thanks, Chintan. That was a very exhaustive presentation, and it really makes it very easy for me to set a base for several things that I wanted to share. I will share my thoughts for about 20 minutes or so, and I'll be most delighted to have a discussion because I see a lot of senior people in this group who are here for this discussion. So let's make it a charcha instead of a one-way traffic as would be coming from my side. So allow me to build up on a couple of points that Chintan was talking about. I think we've always spoken about lifelong learning, and perhaps today it is become the order of the day. Because of the rapid changes in technology, the rapid changes in the way we conduct businesses, we need to keep changing for the better and better and better. Erstwhile days, we used to talk about long range planning for a company, 20 years, then we said 10 years, now we say 5 years. Now I really don't know what's going to be the new definition of LRP, which is long range planning. Change is happening so fast that we need to be able to cope up with it at the earliest. And therefore, I'm sure you've heard this word before. We are talking about the necessity for being agile, the ability to change, the ability to embrace change and bring about a change in the process at the earliest. You know, someone had rightly said, we all love change, but nobody wants to change. And that's the unfortunate truth of yesteryears. But I think today you don't have a choice. The way Chintan projected it, digital was always seen as something which made education a little glamorous, a little more high tech, or a little more fashionable. And therefore, you used to have institutions who say that come and learn in our schools. We have whiteboards, we have projectors, we use modern technology. As they rightly say, zamana badal gaya hai. We actually now assume that these are available at every given place. So I think the need to embrace lifelong learning because change is happening at a pace faster than we expected is the reality of today. And here is where I think we need to realize that notwithstanding how old we are or how young we are, we need to be engaging in a journey of continuous self-development. Technology is available, but how do I use it to enable my own development? I think this is the first challenge that all of us working professionals have to focus our energies upon. I'm not really going to delve too much on what students should be doing and so on, but I'm looking at what working professionals like you and me could be doing to ensure that we could engage in this journey called self-development and lifelong learning. And therefore, my first recommendation to everybody, however unusual it might sound, I think it's time for some career planning and career guidance for everybody going ahead. The reason for this is so much has changed in the environment around us in the last 6 months. So much has been disrupted. There is a lot of worry about what is going to be the way ahead, whether it be education, whether it be the way people do business. There's always this doubt. Is it going to be only digital? Is it going to be blended or what they call phygital? And therefore, I think we all need to take a stop, a pause, and relook at our own careers and try to think of what is it that I'm going to do to ensure that I have a continuity in my career, what kind of value addition I need to do for myself, and how do I ensure that I acquire the skills to keep me relevant in this ever-changing, fast-paced world. Therefore, my suggestion to all working professionals is relook at your career very, very seriously. Let's look at even writing a statement of purpose for ourselves. Where are we today? Where did we want to be? And now in the current scenario, has our goal changed? Is our destination the same that we had visualized before? It might happen that for some of us it still is the same, but then maybe the journey has changed. The route to be taken has changed. मंजिल वही है, but शायद रास्ता अब बदल गया है. And therefore, we need to look at how we reorient ourselves to the goal that we had set out for ourselves in our career. And here is where the role of higher education comes in. Chintan so ably pointed out that there are so many learning opportunities available today online. I'm sure many of us have used the platforms such as Coursera, Udemy, edX, and so many others who even gave these courses on a complimentary basis for the first 3 to 4 months. And even today, so many of these courses are available at anywhere between 50 to 70% discount, which means courses which were 5,000 rupees are normally now coming for even 1,000 rupees. Here is the golden opportunity to add value. Here is a golden opportunity to ensure that the learning that I wanted to acquire, I am able to acquire at this given point in time. And trust me, it doesn't matter whether you're still working from home or because of partial unlock, you started going to office 3 days a week, but today you still have the digital medium as an enabler. Who would have thought that all of us would have got together on a platform to discuss such thoughts, sitting in the comfort of our homes all across Mumbai and Navi Mumbai, and perhaps outside too. So when I'm looking at the process of continuous learning, we need to understand the difference between acquiring learning and education. Very often, we attribute education to completion of a formal course, which also gives us a certificate in the process. And I'm sure many of us out here have heard this before, that I just needed to complete the course to get the certificate, because when I get to my job, I hardly use what I learned. Very often it's a journey where you need to unlearn what you learned in college and then relearn what is required to do on the job. I think this process of education is slowly begun to change. And we are able to see this change possibly coming out through the national education policy and through such measures which have been initiated right at the governmental level. It is here which I am looking at the importance of executive education. Executive education in India has come a very long way from the time it started. Many of us will remember that executive education programs were started even in Mumbai University, where at the MBA level, one used to have the executive MBA or the part-time MBA programs. The focus was the part-time MBA was for working executives. They would attend classes in the evenings and they would complete over 3 years what the full-time MBA student did over 2 years. And the course curriculum was almost the same. A lot of water has passed under the bridge. And today, besides the part-time MBA programs, we have distance MBA programs, we have executive MBA programs, we have online MBA programs, and this is just still continuing to evolve. It's important for all of us to realize that there are two types of offerings which come in higher education when it comes to executive education. One is the kind of courses which are excellent courses, but are recognized only by industry. They are not recognized by the academic fraternity. They do not come under the ambit of something called the University Grants Commission, UGC. They don't come under the ambit of a local university, but yet they are very good value adding courses. These are inevitably the autonomous courses. So for example, if you come across a program called postgraduate program in marketing management, good chance it is not a university recognized program. You come across a program called postgraduate program in business analytics, wonderful, but it may not be a university recognized program. However, nothing to worry. If the program is recognized by industry, then I think you could go ahead and complete that course too. For example, in data analytics and data sciences, you have people like IBM who are co-certifying courses which are run by private institutions. A good example in Mumbai could be IBM AGs, which offers you programs on data sciences. These are not university programs, but they are programs vetted by industry, approved by industry, and provide that job break or the job enrichment that you're looking out for. Let's ask this fundamental question in higher education. Am I studying so that I get a better break in my career? Or am I studying because I want to do research and become a professor in an academic system? If you want to take the professorial route, then you've got to take courses which are university approved. If you're looking at the industry route, then you may take courses which are industry approved. However, there are many courses which are approved by both. So if you are doing a course at IIM Ahmedabad, a premium institution, many of their courses are recognized under UGC, but it is a fact that some of their courses are recognized only by industry. But the stamp of approval coming from a place of stature like IIM Ahmedabad gives you the kind of prestige and value addition in the employment market. So here is where I'm trying to suggest, please look at options of adding value to your own careers by the process of continuing education. But remember what I told you, there is unfortunately a lot of fine print in this entire activity. Right or wrong, in India, education is fairly commercialized. Education is often seen as a business. In fact, some people say in lighter vein that I am in the business of management education, which simply means that for me, this is yet another business. Like marketing a service, like a resort, I'm marketing a course, like in education. So therefore, value addition is extremely important, but looking at how you can distinguish between the two, find a course which is more suitable and up your street can make a significant difference even to your career. Another suggestion that I have is in this process of digitization, a lot of barriers have broken. Barriers of distance, barriers of space, barriers of location, And the digital world has actually connected so many of us. Try to build bridges with institutions which you would like to connect with. I'm sure there's so much talent out here in this meeting. Look at options to associate with institutions. I'm not saying academic institutions alone. You could associate with, like you have TMI or IEEE, or you could associate with Bombay Management Association. If you are an avid fan of advertising, you can associate with the advertising councils. You could be part of World Trade Center export-import activities. You could be attached to the Indian Merchants Chamber if you are a small and medium entrepreneur. Associate with such institutions where you could look at opportunities to add value. What happens in these institutions is not only you get a chance to learn, there is a huge opportunity for networking. You get to meet like-minded people. You get to meet people who perhaps are sailing on the same boat or are sailing in the same direction, but in different boats. And therefore, all of you together can build those synergies for greater effectiveness. Choose an association which is related to your area of work and make it a priority to be part of that immediately. Considering that still we are very unsure about when we will be given permissions for large congregations, conferences, events in a physical format, I would believe the next 3 to 6 months we'll see a lot of digital learning which will continue. So here is a great opportunity for any one of us to associate with these institutions and take one step further. Another suggestion which I have, which is very often something we practice in business schools like ITM, where I belong, we would love to have industry people come and interact with students, because very often there is a gap between academic learning and industry practices. And how much ever we try to bridge this gap, we can't do it alone. The rules and regulations in our country insist that faculty should come with a high degree of academic and research orientation. Fine, we appreciate that. But very often in the pursuit to do research and academics, the faculty would have spent anywhere between 3 to 6 years completing that process, leading to a doctoral degree. And very often this research is expected to be qualitative research. Therefore, the practical orientation is not always possible. When it comes to industry practices, the faculty may not have as much updated knowledge. Here is where anyone from industry could be the ideal linkage for the students. So please look forward to associate with such educational institutions with the intention of sharing. I think the biggest pleasure, the biggest satisfaction, and the biggest learning that we could acquire is by sharing, is by giving, is by contributing to help someone build up their careers. I, for one, over my career, have always believed that we become more successful by helping others become successful. And if we can try to put this simple analogy into practice, how is it that we can contribute to enable students to learn better? How can we equip them with the current industry practices? How can we give them as much of practical knowledge as might be possible, which is not always available in a textbook? And I think this becomes so much easy in a digital format. I would wholeheartedly welcome any one of you or many of you who would like to share your journeys, your experiences, your stories, to come join us as part of the journey at ITM. Be part of the BMA family, where we try to do this week on week for many of you who attend these programs. BMA also has a close relationship with TMI because Chintan is an active member in both the forums. So you're welcome to come and be part of that value addition. Is something which is a very, very critical thing which can contribute to value addition in the lifelong journey of learning, as we would call. Let's also remember one thing. The way education has become digital, I actually visualize that in a couple of years from now, we might just follow the Western model, and that is, and listen to me very carefully, learning is free. You pay only for certification. And I repeat, and that is how you have MIT open courseware available even today. There are so many courses available on MIT. Of course, in our own Indian counterpart learning model called Swayam, there is so much of free learning. When do you pay? If you want a certificate that you have learned a subject, if you want a certificate that you have qualified yourself in a certain area, then you perhaps write an exam, do a dissertation, make a presentation, do a thesis for which you have to pay some kind of fees to the university who certifies. So I repeat, we might soon move to a model I visualize where we say that learning is free, but you pay only for certification. And if this is the order of things to come, I guess all of us have this double advantage that we could actually be learners and we could also be mentors and coaches for others. Because as much as we should be happy to share what we know, we should also be ready to learn those areas which we don't have enough knowledge about. It is this combination which is going to make this entire learning universe what I call a place where learning is going to coexist with two types of people, that mentors and mentees. In mentoring, we always have a concept called reverse mentoring. Normally, we used to say that mentor is a very senior person. He's like a guru. He's like a guide. Today, we are saying as much as the mentor teaches the mentee, the mentor still can learn a lot of things from the mentee. And I think the entire learning universe is moving to a situation like this, where we are breaking the walls of who is the teacher. Because I don't think there is any teacher anymore. Because the original role of the teacher was one of the preacher. Right? If you remember school and college, the way we went through, we were actually scared of the teacher. We used to be beaten by a cane. We got raps on our knuckles when we misbehaved. But today, I don't think any teacher has the guts to do that, because you don't know, dobara laut ke de diya to problem ho jayegi. So where I'm coming from is the entire learning universe has changed into a situation where we are looking at a process of learning and also helping others learn. And this, I believe, is the reality of the higher education. Let's also remember, traditionally, we are used to what is called rigid learning modules. Today, with the approach in NEP, and trust me, even before NEP came in, there are many institutions who've been progressive, who have looked at what is called multidisciplinary learning. Just reflect for a minute and tell me, don't you think it would be great if a doctor, an MBBS student, also learned psychology, but the current curriculum doesn't offer that option? So the person has to study psychology on her own or his own. And tell me who has the time. You're running a rat race. You have to complete exams, submission schedules, pass the internships, get your degree. And then they say, paisa vasool karna hai, because I've already spent so much money in doing the whole process of admitting myself into a medical college and getting my entire education into place. Multidisciplinary basically means that even if I'm a science student, I should be allowed to study psychology as one of the core courses in my curriculum. If I'm a student who is doing psychology, I would still love to learn mathematics, because mathematics and statistics could be very useful in my psychological research over a period of time. It is this approach to multidisciplinary learning which we are trying to promulgate in a greater manner through this entire idea called multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary learning. The other constraint we've always faced as a country is our academic schedules have always been very rigid and inflexible. So if you fail at the end of the year for some reason due to ill health, Very rarely can you do a re-exam and pass. You have to lose a year. And I think that year is not only the physical loss of the year, but it's a huge emotional impact on the career of the child. And of course, the entire family is also impacted emotionally. Bringing in some flexibility in the education process makes the entire learning journey a little more friendly, a little more enabling. Till now, most of the systems we have are inhibiting. I think the welcome change we will see is enabling. Many of us here who have experienced engineering courses will be aware that I could do 10 plus 2, 12 ke baad, 4 years of engineering and get my engineering degree. However, some students used to do 10 plus 3, that is 13, and got admitted into the second year of engineering and then completed the degree in 3 years. So it was simply 2 plus 4 is 6, 3 plus 3 is also 6. Trust me, this was not a shortcut. The diploma route was advised to those students who were good with their hands, who were not good with writing exams after mugging up questions and answers. And therefore, the diploma route was created for them. Whereas the degree route continued to be what it was over a period of time. However, our society being what it is, a lot of people used to always say, diploma करके degree में आया है, तो he is not a good student. उसको अच्छे मार्क नहीं मिले होंगे. We have created these stereotypes. We have created these prototypes. And I think it's time to break all this. It's time to realize that everybody learns in a different way. Their speed of learning, their style of learning, their pace of learning is very different. And having an approach where you can learn at your own pace is something which the new education policy is hoping to implement. And I think digital has already shown us the way. We are seeing now courses of 2 weeks, which you all have done in this period. You know there are courses of 3 months, 1 year, 18 months, 2 years, and the entire buffet is now available to us. So let us look at how we can take advantage of the flexible learning options. Because I believe in this rapidly changing world, the faster that we are able to cope up with the change, the faster that we are able to adapt to the change, we will be able to rise to the occasion and rebuild our careers. I think we can't say anymore that I joined a company and I retire from that company. I doubt. Because as much as you want to retire from the company should be convinced that they want to retain you in the company by virtue of your skill sets and competence. Because the way we look at the future of work, so many things are changing so fast. There are so many skills which will become redundant. It used to be always said, and I can relate this as a South Indian Tamil Brahmin, as they call us, Tambrams. It was always said of Tambrams that do commerce, do a course in shorthand and typing, and join a company as a secretary, become an executive assistant, and life is made. And this used to be the truth over 50 years ago. I don't even know how many of you have handled a typewriter. It's a big question to ask. And my children often ask me, what is a typewriter? And I have to show them the picture on Google. And that's the way things have changed. And that's the way the future of work is going to be. And I strongly believe that the change is going to be more rapid. It's going to be faster than ever before. And therefore, I think the faster we are able to cope with the change, we find ourselves a little more comfortable to be part of this entire fraternity of trying to be part of an organization, try to run our own organizations, or try to ensure that we are in the entire domain of contributing to society in our own different ways. One more idea, which is always very, very passionate for me, is I think going ahead, we will see more of it happening. And I call that anytime learning. All of us know of ATMs, anytime money. I'm actually dreaming of a situation where we will have anytime learning kiosks. Yes, we are used to learning on our mobiles, but don't you agree after some time it becomes very cumbersome? You don't have the full screen. You're not able to navigate easily. Sometimes you feel the strain on your eyes. But suppose we had like ATMs, ATLs, anytime learning kiosks. And I see this is an idea of the future which will come up. I must also confess, this is not my idea. This used to be there about 20 years ago when technology had come in a big way in India. Those were the times when you used to have companies like AppTech and NIT having these kiosks in railway stations and airports. But for some reason, the idea fizzled out. But I think time has come again to relook at what were some of the good things we gave up. Because I often felt that the technology and the entire communication revolution in India was about 5 years ahead of its time. And therefore, many people couldn't cope up with it, many people couldn't afford it, and many people couldn't adjust to it. But thanks to Geo, today what we see is a mobile phone and an internet connection is perhaps cheaper than having a luxury fine dine meal in several restaurants. And therefore, the speed at which we are able to learn, the comfort at which we are able to learn has changed drastically. And I think this is an idea whose time has come again. It is perhaps ripened up now, and it could be an idea of the future. So if some of you is looking at becoming an entrepreneur, here's a good idea for you. If you need some advice, you're welcome to come and talk to me. So that's what I thought I would share with you in terms of some of my thoughts on how higher education scenario is going to change, particularly higher education scenario for executives. I haven't got into the domain of college students and school students because I think that's not very relevant to this group. Maybe some of you have children in that segment, and if you wish, we can have a separate chat over that some other time. But today I thought I would focus on how the higher education scenario is changing into what we call lifelong learning, where the responsibility of learning, where the responsibility of developing our careers is now going to rest with us. I don't think we can say that my company will take care of my growth and development. Yeah, many progressive companies do that. But I think you have to also ensure that you are taking the right steps in that direction so that one can have a career of one's choice. In fact, I often say the ideal situation is if you convert your passion to your profession, then that's exactly what you would enjoy doing. And you'll never have any problems of overload, stress at work, high BP, blood sugar, and things like that, because your passion is your profession and you enjoy what you're doing. On that note, I'm going to take a pause. I'll be happy to interact with all of you, listen to some of your views. If you think I can answer some of your queries, or if there is a thought that strikes you which you would like to debate and discuss, I'll be very happy. I'll hand back to Chintan for continuing this session, and thank you very much for your attention. Over to you, Chintan.
Thank you, sir. Indeed, this was an informative one, and I mean, I would say it gave us a view from the captain's deck, say what is coming in our way and how we can align ourselves. It gave us a 1,000-day advanced view, and that is where we feel that yes, being agile and being adaptive, we can survive the. I mean, with help of continual learning, also we can survive this way of disruption and sail through smoothly. So now we formally open the floor for question and answer, and I would request everyone if you can just put on your camera so all of us can see each other and we can converse with each other. So kindly put on your camera now. Harshad, Ramesh, Vasant, Mutteji, thank you so much. Shriyan, Idaji, Murliji, Senthilji, Srihari, Sudha. Yeah, please go ahead and share your question. Nirja, if you can put on your camera. Monali, if you can put on your camera. Vasant. Vilas, if you can put on your camera, please. Lakshmi, if you can put on your camera. Yeah, in the meanwhile, please, who would like to go first and share their feedback about the session and a question for Professor Mani? Yeah, please go ahead. Shri Hari, would you like to share your feedback, your question, query? Shri Hari, please unmute and yeah, Gautam, please go ahead. You'll have to unmute yourself. No, I guess.
From your side, sir.
Now we are able to hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Good evening. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes.
The session was very informative. Dr. Mani sir and Chintan sir, you have given a very good perspective what we can do with our career, how we can think about the future plan about ourselves. One thing Dr. Mani was talking about that we should always do the things where we have passion for. Discussing this thing is literally very simple, but following is very difficult. I am facing this for the last 4 or 5 years. Quit my corporate job, but pursuing my passion and acceptability of the people with the lower product is not very much in the good institution also. Like I will tell you that about myself. I went up with a product for the institution management colleges, but they are not willing to take it. Reason number one, that why we need to spend the money when we can continue with this sort of information. We don't need to compete with the higher education like IMs or some other tier 1 institutions. So how this sort of mentality can be combated with the, and like how it can be helpful for me?
Okay, this is going to be a challenge because see, there are always, I believe, three types of institutions. One is the top class institutions. There's no debate about it. And second is the low rung institutions, because these are heavily constrained. Either they are constrained by rules and regulations, they are constrained by the trustees' mindset, or they are constrained by geographical location, they are in interior areas. So growing for them becomes very difficult. I think it is the ones in between that you need to focus upon. The ones in between are those who want to raise the bar and move to the next level. They want to aspire to be among the top institutions, and they don't mind putting in that little bit of extra energy and effort. Maybe you need to target those kinds of institutions, because the top rung, sorry to say, will say that we don't need you. And the lower ones will say we can't afford you. It's the ones which somewhere in the middle who will realize that you have something to add value to them, and therefore you can take them from level A to level A plus in that sense. So this is my first observation. Secondly, I know it's easy to say this, but sometimes when we make the shift, I believe we must make the shift in a phased manner. Let me give you a live example. So many people approach me and say, I want to build up my career in academics. You know, I'm 45 years old. I've decided to resign. And will you give me a job? I say, first, don't resign. First, you confirm that you're interested in academics. Being a visiting faculty is very different from being a full-time faculty. A visiting faculty is traveling by Uber. You call the best vehicle, very comfortable, air conditioned, music of your choice. You understand what I'm saying? When you're a visiting faculty, it is a limited association, and there is a great joy in the whole process. But when I tell you that you have to teach a subject called Foundations of Advertising to 460 students, that means 8 batches, day in and day out. And after that, you have to give them at least 5 projects. That means 460 into 5. And then you have to correct the exam papers 3 times a year. You say, hey, I didn't know all this here. I thought correction karne wala koi aur hoga. It doesn't happen like that. Therefore, when you're doing the transition, we always say, come as a visiting professor, spend some time. Then come as a part-time professor spend a little more time, and only then you decide when to do that transition. Here there are two advantages. You haven't given up your job, which is your dal roti, and you're spending time on the cheese and the jam and the other things that you want to add to your dal roti, if I may say so. So therefore, always try to take the approach that any shift should be in a phased manner, should be in a step-by-step manner, and also ensure that you're able to target that kind of people or that kind of institution which will respect your service, not those who believe that they know it all. And I think unfortunately it is a fact in India. There are a set of people and there are a set of institutions who believe is I know it all. There is no humility they show. And I think I would stay miles away from those institutions.
Thank you, sir.
What else? Yeah, welcome. What else? All right. I think, Chintan, there is an observation that, okay, you've taken care of the mute and unmute.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I think
yes.
Dr. Murthy wishes to say something. Over to you.
Thank you a lot, Professor R.S.S. Mani and Dr. Chintan Oza. I know Dr. Chintan Oza through my LinkedIn and communications, and I really appreciate an opportunity for this poor guy in Silicon Valley. And we cannot go anywhere. We are doing everything at home, so I can work long hours. I wanted to kind of get your expertise, Professor Mani, to start with,
Okay.
on the I presume you are a professor of management because I have not looked at your profile yet,
That's right.
and maybe marketing, advertising, public relations area as well, I presume. Otherwise, please correct me. What is happening in terms of using people data? I'm using the word people in terms of users, buyers, consumers for advertising, and consumers, if you want to use that word, for public relations and corporate communications inside the company, etc. How data-based, how AI-based, how ML-based, is it already there or not there? Not simply rules-based, general observation and so on, because I have myself developed numerous AI, ML, blockchain, and neural networks, etc., for multiple verticals. I would like to take your advice as a senior professor there.
Sure. So I put it this way, AI, ML, blockchain applications are in full use, but maybe only with the top 10% of the companies in India. Just about the big names who inevitably would be attached to international chains. So let's say a Unilever, a Procter & Gamble, those kinds of companies, or on the other side, if I look at an IBM or a TCS kind of an organization, and I'm not restricting it to a technology company. It's true of all such large organizations. But the appreciation of this technology is certainly very high, even among the middle and small and medium enterprises. But they are yet not able to afford porting these platforms. So here is where the whole vacuum is. So if we have...
good. Thank you. That you are already in the industry, I can easily see in your expertise presentation. There are private advertising PR companies, right? I used to be advisor to a few in India and similarly here, and I've traveled all over the world, just meeting the big ones and medium ones as well. Is it not a good service to provide to companies, medium, small, not only in addition to that large, who specialize in that expertise? There are so many great looking people I see here from India, and that's a good service, good approach. And you are not limiting yourselves to one, but you collect a lot of data and apply to whichever product, whichever service a company provides, and that will be a great value. Not limiting to say, now, of course, TCS, I used to be an advisor to Kohli and Ram Dure in those days. I know how they operate, how they do, and friend of Azim Premji, and we have lectured and been reviewers in books. That's moment if anyone says, oh, those big companies can do it, entrepreneurship is not existent or not happening as much as we want to. So I'm trying to press upon this point again, that it is possible. There is so many great minds here that I see, of course, many more in India, and obviously we are all here. So I just
Certainly.
wanted to make that point. Yeah.
Wonderful point. I only want to make one observation. I think still there is a lot of unfortunate approach of data secrecy in India. People believe that if they share data, the first worry is it's going to be misused. No one says that data will be used. And I think to some extent, I would also blame the marketeers and the so-called corporate communication people of some companies. It's always the case, isn't it? Some people do the mischief and everybody gets branded. So the same thing is happening here. I'm not very comfortable sharing my data because of reasons of privacy and the fact that it might be misused. Therefore,
yeah, go ahead.
Therefore, even if I try to build an association and say, look, for the SME segment in supply chain, we are going to have a common data pool. We are going to have a common data analytics of trends, and we will all work together in developing this AI ML application. There's a lot of hesitation. So this is my anxiety, but I think the point you made is welcome. And if you're able to still navigate us from where you are in Silicon Valley, it would be a great value addition.
Yeah, except that, how many of you have Facebook account, Twitter account? There is no safety. There is no privacy at all. You have all signed off because of having fun there. So I don't completely agree with you, because you are a senior professor. It's not the Indian way of debating. And with all the respect, I think we are already given up, and people will be happy to do if they get a value back. And then we already signed up. We don't even just sign up and just sign off, right? Okay, no problem. And then brand building, brand extension, right? In Advertising Research Foundation, I was on the board, we did a lot on advertising related, but brand extension, brand, liquidity, etc., etc. So we'll talk about it offline. I want other people to speak and talk about it. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr.
May I?
Yes, Ramesh. Yes, please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, please
Yes.
go ahead.
Chintanji.
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you. My question is more out of a concern, so I like to share the concern first and then the question. Professor Mani and Chintan, any of you can take it. You see, we all know that this pandemic is here for a while to stay. We've already lost one full academic year for practical purposes, and there's a good chance that we will also lose the next academic year. Okay. The question here is that every faculty, most of the faculty, I would say, are in the range of 50 plus or 55 plus in terms of the age bracket, who have been totally restricted to move out of their residences as far as possible. The second issue is that the online concentration is so high as on today that we are all trying to get accustomed to this online teaching and online learning. Right? So my question is, when the market opens up and the academia is totally allowed to function in the best way possible, don't you see that there's going to be a challenge between the half-baked online teaching and the half-baked physical teaching and learning, which is going to be will then be a bigger challenge even, where there'll be a vacuum of people or professors who cannot come to class, but the classes have opened, and so on and so forth. I'm talking about the real life challenges. What are your views on that real life challenges which we can see, which are very apparent?
Chintan, you want to start? I'll continue.
Yeah, please go ahead,
I
sir.
don't know if I was clear in my question, but I'm a little confused myself, but the clarity will come with a little bit of deliberation.
Yeah, no, we got you, Rameshji. Yeah, so in my view, it is going to be a seamless experience. because students have been interacting with their faculties day in and day out. So the hand-holding and the personal approach is always there. I mean, I'm just taking example of my younger son, who is in sixth standard, and definitely he is talking to his teacher. The teacher is also interacting with him on a regular basis. There is an interaction with the use of right tools, and that is where I mean, as in when they go back to school, probably they are going to have a seamless transition. Only the medium of interaction changes. That's about it. Otherwise, I don't foresee any challenge. First part. Second part, on the age front, as you rightly pointed out, yes, it is not only the education institute, but entire industry segment is going to have a challenge for putting people above 50 in jobs because of their, I mean, because of the health concerns. So definitely, yes, this is going to be a challenge, and that is where probably repurposing of the roles can be an idea wherein people above 50 can be repurposed into a supervisory role, and then people below 50 can go to the field and then do the job. And that is how a bit of reorg may make wonders. So this is my view. Manish sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very valid point, a very valid observation. You know, the last 6 months, we've spent a lot of time helping teachers to acquire skills to teach digitally. And the way we are going, maybe after a couple of months, we might have to do a refresher course on how to teach in the classroom all over again. I mean, I said that in lighter vein. They've been teaching in classes for so many years, but point is valid. I believe, for one, it's going to be a blended learning for the next at least 1 to 2 years. How much ever we sound optimistic about vaccine, we don't know about the validity, we don't know about the availability, we don't know about the affordability, and of course the wide reach of 130 crore population of India. So I think it's going to be blended. So we need to keep equipping our teaching community on both how to deliver digitally and how to continue to deliver physically, but under a changed situation. For example, at the college level through the Ministry of Higher Education, we have been told that classroom should be only with 50% of normal capacity. So where I used to suit 60 students, I'm allowed to only put in 30 students, which means I have to either work double shift or I have to get my faculty to do the same thing twice over again. And neither of this is going to be easy for anybody. It's not only going to be a physical trauma, it will also be a mental trauma for some of them. So the point that you raised about what's going to happen, I think it's going to be a process of transition. It's going to be a process of huge amount of adjustment in all stakeholders. And of course, one positive that the digital teaching did for us, we were able to source faculty from all over India, notwithstanding gender and age. So today I have faculty from Mumbai teaching in Raipur campus. I have faculty from Chennai teaching in Baroda campus. That was a huge positive. And we could also take the wisdom of so many people who had retired and didn't want to engage in a physical travel-based job. So they got adjusted to the new normal in terms of teaching from where they are in the comfort of their homes. Of course, we had to teach them a little on how to teach on the digital platform, because I'm sure all of us agree it's a different experience altogether. The same rules don't work. One size doesn't fit all, obviously. So we've done that bit of transition. But if we come back to a total classroom mode, then we might be imposing our geographical barriers all over again on ourselves. So I think time will tell how it shapes out, but I'm optimistic that if we do a blended learning, we can have the best of both worlds. This is my view based on whatever little experience that I have.
Thank you.
Chintan, you can, yeah, I can see
Yeah,
some
thank
other
you,
hands.
Rameshi. Thank you, Rameshi.
Thank you.
Vasant, do you have any question, queries?
There, Vilas has a question. I saw
Oh,
him.
yes,
IDA
please
has
go
a
ahead.
question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, this is Vilas Saude. Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Hello,
Yeah,
Chintan and um, RSS Money, I called him, yeah. Going forward, I absolutely agree with Professor Mani. You said about national. Last week we had a conference where one from US and one from Australia, they participated at a global. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for getting all these global resources at one place. So that's and during that discussion, which came up very well, that probably they said ki we can have 4 lectures as ATM, and the 5th lecture can be live or interactive. So this type of where you can pull on the resources like us who are on the verge of retirement or retired and have a good industrial experience. So that's what my thing was. But how fast this NEP is going to be implemented, I just want the clarity. It has been floated. Some private universities are there; they are keen to go ahead. But what about the others where state? What is your call on that?
In fact, a valid question. I would believe that a lot of private universities or deemed universities like ITMs or like Symbiosis or so many others, we've already implemented so many things which are there in the NEP in our own way. Like we do multidisciplinary courses, we allow ease of entry and exit, but we do it in a very small way. But if it has to become a national wave, if it has to become a way of life in education, I think by the time we roll out the first steps will be at least about 3 to 4 years from now. This is my conservative view on the whole thing, because it is yet to be passed, it is yet to be adapted, then it has to be rolled out state-wise. I'm sure there will be various adjustment issues because India still follows a multiple approach to education. We have state board, we have central board, we have the IB, we have the IGCSE. I know all this will go away eventually, but then you still have to allow the existing batches to complete it in logical succession. And therefore, I'm conservatively saying about 3 to 4 years. NEP is a good idea. I think it has to be still debated and the finer points understood, and then the rollout will be more effective. So this is my thinking on NEP. Chintan?
Yes, definitely. And in fact, all I would say is everyone who is connected with the industry, their peers across different countries, this disruption has brought everyone on a single platform that is digital. And that is where we are able to collaborate. I mean, gone are the days when we used to write email to our friends sitting in different countries. But actually, this disruption has enabled us to talk to people, and then we are able to collaborate, do fellowship with them, and then strengthen our bonding. So yes, on the first part of the question, Vilas, yes, people who are well connected with their peers in the industry, in the ecosystem, they are at advantage, and that is where the networking and being part of such communities definitely helps. So that is my observation. I guess on the NEP part, I would say it's a disruption coming our way in next 1,000 days time. So
Yeah,
that is
thank you.
my visibility.
Yeah. Yeah, Professor. I really appreciate because Vinod was introduced in Delhi as 50% of the NEP recommendation have been implemented in Maharashtra. So that was his recognition.
Yeah, I would think so. Yes, I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
certainly think
So
so.
yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks. Okay.
Welcome, welcome. I
Thank
thought
you.
I saw, I'm
Ida,
sorry if I'm
Ida.
reading the name wrong.
Aida.
IDA. Yeah.
Sir,
Ida,
my
that's it.
name is Aida. Aida
Okay,
Pereira.
welcome.
Oh,
Welcome.
Hi.
sorry, ma'am.
Hi.
So can you
No, no.
put on your cam and so that we can talk face to
No,
face and
actually, I'm in a relaxed mode today.
not
Finally,
an
one
issue. Please go
Saturday, I
ahead.
got a little
Yeah,
relaxed. So I'm
please
so
go ahead.
sorry, but definitely next time. Yeah. So I have two questions. One is, of course, the session given by Chintan and Professor Mani both were really interactive. I have one question for Professor Mani is, Students are definitely today across the globe are studying at home, are online, on internet. But one matter of concern is the students all this while they were actually in classrooms, they were very active, interactive sessions were going on for them. They were interacting and bonding with the teachers as well as the students. But today, when they are at home, that all those things have now gone off from them. So it's become like they're just studying online and then coming out of it. Okay, so I just have one question is, sir, how will they be able to cope up if at all this extends? Will they have to be counseling sessions for them, mentoring continuously, and likewise, it should be very interactive for them. Of course, I have my daughter. She's also, online. But this is a matter of concern that when the students till the last, Jan Feb, all the students were, in school classrooms, and today all are at home online. Maybe 2-3 months we were very happy. We don't have school. We don't have to, give exams. But now, as the time is passing by, I can actually see a lot of students who at home are. They're not, the parents are not just willing them to go even out because of this pandemic, because of the fear that they would carry something with them. So how would we be able to actually bring confidence in them once they be back in the classrooms? Probably maybe in Jan or Feb. I'm sure their confidence level will be very low.
Yeah, very valid observation. So the first thing that you rightly said is our students have, our children, as students learning digitally, I think have become high tech. And the biggest worry today is they have lost what we call the high touch.
Yeah.
Right, you're right. When you say that whether we look at school, whether we look at the playground, children are so used to being in large groups. And there's so much of what they call that physical proximity and that touch and feel. So you're right. We need to reorient them to high touch. Now they have gone into high tech. This is going to be a challenge. But I believe one thing. If there's one group of people whose adaptability is highest, it is children. So frankly, it doesn't worry me so much, except for children who actually might be having some problem in terms of adjusting. Otherwise, for a majority of children, I would believe that it's a matter of a few days, they will adjust back. I agree with you when you say that the restrictions are coming not because of the children, but because of the parents imposing restrictions on the children. Parents get a little more confidence about the fact that the cases have reduced. With sufficient safety precautions, one can combat the coronavirus. Then I think life might change. All good institutions have counselors, and I would urge a lot of parents who are there here, please do not shirk away from going to a counselor. I'm sorry to say a lot of people believe that going for counseling means admitting that something is wrong. Going for counseling means uska dimag theek nahi hai. I'm sorry, I'm using very crude language, but I have experienced this as a career counselor. I have been a career counselor for over 3 decades now. And I can see so much of hesitation even today in this ultra modern age. When the parents say, why do we need a counselor? There's nothing wrong with my son. I often say, please go to a counselor, come to us, because we can only help you guide the child in the direction he or she wants to take. You're not coming to me because something is wrong with your child. So I want to urge people, if you think your child needs that little bit of counseling, please go ahead. And I would strongly urge, don't let the child alone. You be part of the counseling process, because that will build in child the confidence that my parents are here to help me trying to find a solution to the problem. Not that they have just pushed me on to somebody who is going to do a brainwashing exercise for me. So very valid point, Ida. I think we have to be prepared for this kind of psychological counseling for students and parents when we get back to the revised normal, whether it be completely physical or even blended for that matter.
Thank you, sir. Valid. So, Chintan, I have one question for you.
Yes, tell me.
Design thinking course. Because I have, as Sir said, Coursera is one platform where we can do our courses online. So I have just taken design thinking course online. I've just started about a week back. So I wanted you to recommend which are the courses in design thinking which could be useful for us. Maybe I could take it offline with you separately.
Sure, definitely. I'd be really glad to help you there. I have a couple of recommendations. I need to search in my data and then share it with you. So yes,
Sure.
we can connect offline.
Sure. I think I'll take offline because I have got another, e-learning that we are coming up with our organization. I have been working with Yuva Parivartan. We've just launched a e-learning app for the students in the villages. So it is both for the urban and for the rural students. So I have got some questions probably offline. I will take with you on Monday or Tuesday. One of the days I'll just call you up. Is it okay with you?
I'd be happy to assist. Yeah, definitely. Sure.
Oh, okay. Great. Thanks so much. Thank
you so much. Thanks, ma'am.
Yeah. Professor Mani, I have one question. Vasant Pai from Mumbai. Regarding this, because of the COVID and other situations, I think our admission to the engineering colleges, IITs, and medical colleges, all have been basically come to 3 to 4 months of delay. And then the entire academic, I think, year is also maybe, I don't know whether they will extend it to the academic years because of that whatever lost time, or it's going to be shrunk. So I think there is an impact on the quality or the time period of the education. And I think semester and that I think cannot wait. I think they have to be completing the examinations, I think, in the next couple of months. So that the entire thing has to, the academic year and the curriculum and all those things have to be closed actually in the appropriate manner. I think it cannot be endless elongation or waiting. So I think there's an entire system is being stretched or shrunk. So, what is your opinion on this? Like, now, how the entire education system is handling this? So, whether it's going to be in next couple of years, what is your view on this? Whether it is definitely it is not good for I think students and academia, definitely, because the lost time cannot be recovered. But I think students have been using online platform for learning and all this. But because of this admission and these things have been come to a standstill, or I think is getting postponed, or people are waiting in the wings, basically, to start the activities. I came to know in Karnataka, the CT exams have been conducted in month of August. Admissions will happen only after IIT and all other NIT admissions are over. So the people have to almost waiting for I think 3 to 4 months without any actually not that much. But they must be doing their own courses on their own or something. But I think academic year has been redefined basically, right? I think now usually they should start in July, August. Now already September, October. Now November also people are not don't know whether they're going to start or going to still postpone. Actually, that also is not clear actually so far. So what is your opinion on this, sir?
Correct. So lots of questions. I'll try to take one at a time. The first thing is the Ministry of Higher Education has indicated that all institutions of higher education, particularly the non-technical ones, must start November 1st onwards. They have given the timetables. They have also given the entire academic calendar right up to May. And what they have done there is, as you rightly use the word, they have compressed the timetables. What has happened there is, fortunately, because it's non-technical, a lot of classes have already happened digitally. So to a great extent, they have covered some ground. How effective? Could the teacher do justice? Could the student do justice? Because all of us know, even in a place like Virar, in external Mumbai, you may not have a great degree of bandwidth. Then you talk about, interior parts of Maharashtra and where you may. But notwithstanding the constraints, at least efforts have been made in the right direction. Now coming to the technical courses, like a medical, like an engineering, like an architecture, more or less they have delayed everything because the first admission processes have to be completed for the institutions of eminence, like IITs and the medical colleges, and then we come to NITs and then the other institutions. There, of course, nothing has happened. There, the expectation is that the terms will be slightly extended, the vacations will be cut out,
Hmm.
I know a couple of private universities in South India
Right.
who have asked the students to report by October 15th. They will be quarantined for 15 days.
Hmm.
So November 1st onwards, they will start college. And once they start college, no one will be allowed to leave the campus till
Oh,
the term is complete. So they are
okay.
trying to recover for lost time, as you have correctly pointed out. But
Right.
unfortunately, these are few incidents. This is not the rule of the land as yet. Unfortunately, a lot of the higher education machinery is doing its best, but rolling out a national decision, I think, is often a challenge because each state has its own constraints. There could be socio-political factors, so it's not the right forum to discuss that. But your concern is valid. So I visualize the next 6 months are going to be chaotic in education. And I would urge every parent here to make use of the time to skill up the child a little more, to encourage the child to get into a mode of what I call self-learning. You see, ultimately, we all know how much do we learn only from a teacher in an institution of higher education. You're no more in school. You learn from peers, you learn from textbook, you learn from Google today, you learn from projects. So if the child can be encouraged to keep on adding value to themselves, I think they will manage this transition a little better. So concern is very valid, but for technical education, unfortunately, it being what you cannot deliver only on a digital platform, I don't think we have reached the level of AR and VR where we can do practicals online, or we can show a complete machine analysis online, or we do a dissection of a human body for a medical student online.
Right.
These are available,
Yeah.
but they are not available en masse as a teaching tool. They may
Yeah.
be available as a wonderful, video on YouTube or something like that, but not
Right.
as an educational tool. But I'm sure time will help us cope up with this. Till then, you and me, parents, have to still worry about how the child is going to recover for the lost time. The only solace is the whole world is going through it. If not the world, the whole country is going through it. So, sabko jo hoga, apne liye bhi hoga is the only way we philosophically accept it.
Right.
That's my suggestion.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thanks. We have Rajiv Gupteji. He wants to ask a question.
Sir, there is no question, but I want to draw one thing. Today, both the speakers have stressed on acquiring skills, which is very appropriate point. And if you see the industry or particularly SME, they have come up in particular area, particular industries. For example, Pune is known for automobile industry. Some area is known for textile industry, likewise. And there, there is acquiring skill or skilled manpower is very much required. And for this purpose, these points are very valid points. My submission is that Professor Mani is such a strong person and he's having so many students with them. If he can do some gap analysis or some study about this availability of skills, with a requirement of skills, and also availability of skills in some areas, that will be very effective. He can submit such reports to government, because that is actually need of our, because we are tackling the big problem of unemployment, and unemployment can be addressed only through the skill improvement in or employability of the students or candidates. So that was my submission. So, all right. So thank you.
All right, thank you. And I note your suggestion. I only want to humbly make a point is we've tried a little bit of trying to do this gap analysis, not alone, but by
Okay.
reaching out to people like, let's say, the Nasik engineering cluster, the
Oh,
Pune
yes.
engineering cluster, which
Yes, yes.
you are yourself familiar, are what we call consortiums of SME interests.
Right.
And some work has gone in this direction.
Yes,
But
yes, work has gone.
I still have this little anxiety in my mind, but maybe COVID would have changed the mindset. A lot of people in SMEs are not very ready to collaborate. They still see themselves as competing in organizations with each other. So when we try
Yes,
to
yes.
get them on a common platform, we found it a little difficult. This is just an observation based on past experience.
right.
I don't want to generalize, but we take your submission, and maybe even Chintan, you should look at how TMI could play a role in enabling this whole process with the orientation of technology and management. ITM will be happy to work on it with other forums. So
Yeah,
let's,
sure, definitely. What I would do is I would get in touch with Rajiv ji offline.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
mean, and then let us set up a discussion when we capture their views and then collaborate with a couple of institutes and take your assistance.
Sure. Kajal has
Thank you.
something to ask, I think.
Yeah, Kajal, go ahead.
Hello, sir. Hello, Chintan sir. Hello, Mani sir. First of all,
Hello.
wonderful session. I mean, very intuitive and very honest, I should say, about what is happening and the current situation with the education system, how everything is baboon out of the blue because of the COVID. So my question is very simple. It's kind of a I want to ask. You can't have a definite answer to it, but I would love to know what is your intuition about it. So, in 2017 around, so there was the dean of Harvard who visited our college, and I belong to a decent college. Let's just say that he came there and he clearly told that in the next 10 years or 15 years. A huge number of jobs are going to be replaced by machines. So I just request all of you all to focus on those skill sets which cannot be replaced. So not there's it cannot be 100% cannot be replaced, but there are going to be certain services, there are going to be certain skills which are where always a human will be preferred over a machine to give a precise and a more satisfactory job. At the end of the day, the satisfaction that you get with kind of job done is what matters. If I'm not happy with a man doing that job perfectly, I will be happy with a machine doing it, or vice versa. So, sir, what is your idea of, or what are the skill sets according to you which are very prominent of humankind retaining them, and then as humans we can think about mastering them and getting that breakthrough, so that we the people who possess these skills and they are aware of it and they never face problems like unemployment or anything, because such skills will always be in demand. So something on that point. I don't know whether I've been very clear with what I'm asking, but just something on since Mr. Rajiv said, Mr. Murthy sir said that AI and machine learning and everything is coming, there is still going to be certain skills where humans will play the role. So what are those skills?
So Chintan has his entire research on the future of work. So I'm going to ask him to start batting this question, and then I'll add on.
Sure, definitely. So thank you so
Okay,
much.
sir.
Kajal, yes, there are certain skills which we need to master. We still have 1,000 days. I would, I mean, I don't want to, I mean, what you call,
Name them.
scare you. I don't want to scare you, but we have 1,000 days to sharpen our skills. So negotiation skills, only human can negotiate, right? Either with a machine or with another human,
Yes.
right? Service orientation,
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, orientation
Yes.
to service. This is something, the human factor you can bring in while you deliver the service. Complex problem solving. Problem solving is something wherein you need a human brain to do it. You cannot fix any problem solving into an algorithm. You need to have critical thinking skills. How do you apply those critical thinking skills? You need to have creativity, new designs, new thinking. This is where humans would be needed. Management, general management, I would say, managing humans, managing teams, managing and I mean, I would say persuasion. This is going to be one of the important skills. Uh, Emotional intelligence, ethics, because there would be a lot of need for humans to be ethical to examine things which are in algorithm. there would be a huge need for people with emotional intelligence, technology intelligence, and there would be a lot of need for project managers who would be managing machines, humans, and orchestrating projects. So this is what is my take. Mani sir, over to you.
Wow, sir. But sir,
Yeah, go
so
ahead.
just one addition. But if there are so many things that are available, these things were never a part of my education system. Like, I've been born and brought up, and I've studied from the best institutes, the most premier institute, and these skill sets were never given to us, or were taught to us explicitly, stating that these are the things which only, which is a very huge scope for humans to retain, because this segment is never going to be taken over by machines, or this segment is never going to go down, and or you can become the best and always stay in business for your lifetime. So why is our education system failing so badly for
So that
imposing
is
such kind of
so that is where I started my answer with one question, that we still have 1,000 days.
okay still have okay
We still have 1,000 days, right? So we still have 1,000 days, 3 years to improve upon.
Kajal,
It's up to us how do we want to sharpen our skills and gain new skills. So it can be like, just go and then pursue a course on problem solving, or creativity. Take up some art class, or be a blogger.
for passion.
Have some, yes, exactly.
The other angle which we have to look at all this is bringing changes in any large system is a very laborious process. And the starting point is to accept that the change is required. I think that is where perhaps we have been very slow in our response. So management schools have been in existence for 50 years. They could have brought in drastic changes in the syllabi. But you know this around, that only the top 10% of the institutions might have done this. And they are the ones who are ahead and have a USP as compared to many others. So this is point number one, that we have to accept that the change is needed and be ready to take corrective actions to cope up with that. That acceptance itself is a long drawn process, and it doesn't happen. So this is point number one. Secondly, let's also remember one thing. Our entire learning focus has been teacher centered. If you look at a situation in college, tell me, were you ever encouraged to ask questions? I think the answer is generally no, because asking questions meant it was challenging the superiority of the teacher. So you never ask questions. The teacher said understood, we said understood. 1 minute.
No, sir. No, sir. I think asking questions was more focused on query solving.
All right, that is for you. But I can tell you even today,
yes,
in 50% of the institutions, this is not acceptable. And therefore, where does the child have that enthusiasm and energy to clarify, to seek responses, to break the mold? So we all become what we call robots. So this is the second kind of the problem. Third, of course, my favorite answer is one skill which is something everyone has to develop is human skills. And in human skills, the skills of counseling. I don't think you need to go to a counselor. Today, of course, you need to, because there are not enough people who are equipped to handle emotional issues. But counseling skills is something we need to have, every one of us. The reason is we are going to be experiencing so many changes, not only because of Corona, but the world is moving at a pace faster than we can ever imagine. And adjustment, emotional problems is going to be the order of the day. So I think counseling skills is something, if everyone develops, we can help each other. As I said somewhere earlier, if we are able to help each other, instead of running the rat race and trying to put each other down, then maybe the world will be a better place to live in. So for me, the top skill is counseling skills. And the second one is listening skills. I think I don't know which is the right sequence, but these two are very, very important for me.
And
Good, sir.
last
I
but
think
not the
I'm
least,
pretty much
I
happy
think I
last,
have
with
a
the
hello.
answer.
yeah, and
I think
last but not
Vikas
the
had
least
something to say.
skill would be leadership skill, taking charge, taking accountability to get things delivered. Yeah,
Can I ask one more question?
please go
Please
ahead.
go ahead.
The money we were in the same batch, we lost almost 2.5 months in 10th standard, but that didn't impact. You
Yes,
know.
yes, I
Yeah.
remember.
So our results were end August. Anyway, some of the schools are working on the syllabus, which is very necessary to go to the next standard. And I suggested to colleges, which of course deemed university, whether they can combine 2 years, first year, second year together for 18 months rather than 12 months to 6 months. Except for last year, this can happen. So at least 3/4 of the problem will get resolved. So these are the options coming up. Academicians should start working on that because this issue is not going to resolve. My question was on the energy transition, which is the area I'm working. For last 2-3 years, I was saying there will be energy transition. Uh, in 2019, I vocal on many conferences. And now with COVID, this has expedited. Everybody is talking about net zero and other things by 2050. So when I tracked back, Europe has already taken steps in having a 180-degree credit course on energy transition itself. But there are various aspects of energy transition which needs to be adopted because I'm from the oil. I don't see oil beyond 2040, 45. So whether we can work on that, that's the area. And another area is India is going towards gasification, where if I calculate all in terms of pipeline network, etc., there is almost an investment of 7 lakhs crore is going to come in 5, 6, 7 years. The government report says the skill sets required are not institute, but still that gap is there. So that's the other area which I would like to.
Fair. Chintan, like to respond first?
Yeah, so I would say that yes, so skill mapping and skill upgrade is something which is needed. And in my view, the shortest path is stronger handshake between industry and academia, because this is going to be a volatile requirement. When academia starts gearing up the students, and the industry says, oh, our projects are delayed, then probably that becomes a different situation. And that is where what I would recommend is a strong hand holding between industry and academia. Why can't we have, I would say, a permanent alliance between academia and industry, wherein company X says that, okay, fine, in 2023, I would be recruiting 25 students from your institute, and I need them to have this kind of skills, these kind of skills to be, developed in these students. Let them shortlist 25 upfront, and academia develops and trains those students on those specific skills. So this is something which is going to be, otherwise it is going to be a kind of blame game everywhere, that academic institutes develop and then industry doesn't recruit, and then what industry demands, academic institutes don't deliver. So that is where I am in favor of match fixing.
Not cricket match fixing, Chintan.
Yeah,
IPL is one.
career fixing, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
I would say, because see, if let us say that it's a 4-year course, and then this is the year when they are starting. If they are going to pass out in 2024, then let the industry people shortlist their candidates, select them, and then why to conduct exam at the end of 4th year? Why don't in 1st year itself? And then shortlist and say that, okay, fine, if you get consistent marks, you definitely get recruited into this company. It also assures both the parties, students, industry, and academia. So why don't we bring in the change? Let us apply principles of design thinking instead of conducting the entrance at the 4th year. Let us have it in the 1st year itself, and then capture those capabilities and see to it that which student needs what kind of tuning and how we can scale them up. And academia plays a major role there. So that is what is my suggestion and submission. Mani sir, over to you.
Yeah, I think Vilas, you've made a very valid point, and all of us have heard this word. The success and failure of not only companies but also the entire society and country will now depend on emphasis on ESG, environment, sustainability, and governance. Governance is not part of this immediate discussion, but I'm sure all of us know the value of it. But environment and sustainability will be the key benchmarks which will decide the success and failure of organizations. And if companies are not going to rise to the occasion, as you rightly pointed out, it's going to be a very tough call for India. And we might end up having to even make business losses internationally because these norms will be into force very rigidly and there'll be no shortcuts to the entire process. So I guess even industry has to go through an entire mind shift on how to really compete in the global market in the manner that the market so demand. So that's my take.
Hello.
Yes, Manav.
Yeah, hi. Actually, I'm going to revert back to Kajal's question. So as she asked that there is going to be a time wherein machines are going to replace every human job out there, at least most of it. And you said that there are certain skills, but these skills are not explicitly taught in educational institutes because of systemic problems. Now, I as a student cannot handle those systemic problems because neither is it my responsibility nor do I have the authority for it. So
Correct.
what can I do as a student to secure my own future?
So wonderful question. So if you even take up a couple of these, okay, let's say negotiation skills is something we believe everybody should know. If you look at curriculum, only a marketing student was taught negotiation skills. Or if you worked in the purchase department or you were in supply chain, you were taught negotiation skills. Now we're saying everybody needs to study negotiation skills. Earlier we used to say students of psychology and human resources need to study counseling skills. Now we are saying everybody needs counseling skills. So if you can draw up a list of some of these, and you can find so much of matter, of course, but if you just give priority to these three things, listening skills, counseling skills, negotiation skills, and the importance of leadership. Now let's remember one thing, and I'm just making an observation. Leadership is not about having followers. Leadership is about producing more leaders. And I repeat, if you're able to move on to that paradigm shift, that as a leader, my main responsibility is to produce more leaders. This kind of learning will have a huge impact on your career progression, irrespective of what industry you work in, what role you do. So start on these four, and I'm sure you'll find some of these coming into your system after a period of time, but you might be in a better position because you've already done your homework.
Okay. So if we are talking about homework, a follow-up question would be what material or what course would you recommend for these four?
Well, I would say start with simplest of things like a Swayam digital platform, which is made in India. There are lots of good stuff available there. And then you can easily move on to learning from YouTube videos. That's a huge learning universe which people ignore. I know, I also look out for movies I missed on YouTube, but then that's just one of the solutions. Look out for some of these. Third, of course, is this entire trinity of three wonderful sites, Coursera, edX, and Udemy. Okay. All these have a wealth of knowledge, and I think it'll be a wonderful starting point. In fact, as I was saying, if there was some way you could learn here and get certified, there is more learning available here than anywhere else. But then it's still not the order of the day. You'll have to move towards it. Okay?
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, and Manav, just to add to it, I mean, you must have a plan that, okay, fine, this year I would learn a couple of skills and then align your activity around that plan. So don't be a charged electron without a direction.
Okay.
So you must have a plan that, okay, by December I would acquire these skills. By March I would acquire something in addition. So have a plan around it and then go for it.
Okay, sir.
Great. Sanjay ji had a question. Sanjay Budka ji. Sanjay ji, hello. Sanjay ji, are you there?
I think
He mentioned leaving. I think some official call.
he just left. Doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, fine. Who would like to go next? Murli ji, Nirja, Harshad. I guess Sanjay Budka ji is still here. Priya, Sudha.
Connectivity.
Hi, Chintan.
Hi, Nirja. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I actually do not have any questions. All the questions have already been answered, but I would like to go with the feedback for this session.
Sure.
First of all, thank you, Dr. Chintan and Professor Mani, for such an insightful session. It was a wonderful session with some meaningful insights on transformation that we have undergone from the traditional classrooms to the digital, considering social media as an enabler. It was very exhaustive presentation from Dr. Chintan with a wide range of topics that have been covered, from the new tools that we have entered the class, that have actually entered the classroom, and how technology has empowered teaching and learning. So that was truly an inspiring session. And Professor Mani has spoken at length on how higher education scenario is going to change. So he has emphasized on being agents of change by being agile and embracing change. So we have to challenge ourselves towards continuous self-development and of course lifelong learning. So we do have these platforms like Coursera, Udemy, etc., wherein you can actually gain a lot of knowledge. So you need to unlearn what you have already learned and then relearn to reorient ourselves and achieve the goals, the new set of goals that we are setting in. So Professor Mani has also stressed on this multidisciplinary learning and also setting up of anytime learning kiosks, which would be the new normal in near future. This was an excellent idea, and of course I can foresee this in the near future very soon. So uh, I always believe that there is no age limit to learn, and it is always a continuous process. So thank you once again for this inspiring session, and I really have a lot of takeaways from this session.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your feedback.
Thanks, Nirja. I think we must compliment you on the amazing summary that you did. That means you listened very carefully.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
I think Murli has raised his hand.
Yes, Murli ji, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I think thanks. First of all, this is my first interaction in BMA, so thanks a lot. I've known Professor Mani, so I won't expect anything less from him. Yeah, and Chintan, I think you made a very good point. I've been in this field for a long time. Just a couple of points, slightly different. Okay, national education policy is a game changer, and I think it will require implementation. And you know, I was one of the founder members of NIT, and we've been fighting since early 80s about the need for flexibility, dual qualifications, etc. So it's at least after 40 years, people have done that. And I think it's a need of the hour. But more important than that, Chintan, and that's specifically for you, I agree with all the perspectives about, you know, industry academic collaboration, need to bring in opportunity to bring in global faculty, opportunity to do things. But 2 points I want to make. One is the fact that, you know, the education technology has 2 parts, education and technology. And I'm a part of the education industry. I think till the COVID hit us, we have been pretty much ignoring technology, you know, and we were sort of dinosaurs. Now suddenly we have swung to the other extreme, and now we're only talking about technology and digital. So somewhere I think we need to find, there are some things which are changing, but some things which are timeless. Right, and I see 2 things. One is the fact that there is a stream of education which is required for researchers and for people who want to teach others, and national education policy takes care of it. The other thing, I think there is a lot of reforms required, which you have touched upon, which Professor Mani has also touched upon. In that, one thing which is missing, I feel, is that the assessment that industry has of the skills of people. I think it's at a very nascent stage. So we still are going by the education, by the qualification of people. And I think there is a huge opportunity, and very much like, I'm sorry, I'm using a slightly different example. Like there are people collaborating today across the world to bring in vaccines, right? I think we in the education sector should collaborate with each other to bring in much better assessment techniques, which can be used by industry. Because at the end of the day, if since education is a business, it's a marketplace. And the only way in which this marketplace will work is not by the thappa that's given out, because all institutions are giving that out. But industry has a very clear way of assessing. It's not relevant whether the person is from first level or second level. You could have a very good candidate from so-called third level, and he could be much better than the first level person, right? So I feel we should collaborate as industry and bring in much more sophisticated ways of assessing skills which are relevant for job, number one. Number two, I think even in terms of skill development, most of the work that we are doing in digital today is on knowledge, right? Some of you mentioned about, one gentleman spoke about the energy part and the oil and gas part and the gasification of India, etc. I feel these are the areas where the new age skills and there are opportunities emerging. So not all jobs are going to go away because of machines, but new jobs are going to emerge. Yeah. And my point is that I think skill development also, there should be a lot of research on how to deal with skill development and how to have an effective technology to be able to do skill development. So these are my observations. And once again, congratulations for a very engaging and a very timely topic that you have chosen. Yeah. And the discussions after that. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was very pleasant surprise to see you there. And it was nice to listen to your viewpoints also. And I'm sure we're going to look at how we can build more synergies. Thank you.
Yeah. So my pleasure. Yeah.
And I'd like to say, yes, on the skill part, yes, right now the current generation is indeed taking this seriously. They are going for different certifications, they are taking up membership, and then they are networking, they are doing fellowship. So this is where the environment is moving, and yes, I'm pretty confident that the current generation is engaging. But yes, we need to bring out the dinosaurs.
So I have a question, sir. I have one very crucial question, if you allow.
Oh yes, crucial, Bapre. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. So, sir, recently, 2 days ago, ICAI has taken very strict actions on the Chartered Institute members who are a part of the BNI community. Okay, so they are restricted from being a part of such community and the similar communities. I don't know what did they mean by the term similar, but there was a proper notification on the institute, and it's a proper legal notification. So the how do we choose? See, for example, I personally think that becoming a part of I'm not a part of BNI, but like I'm part of the TMI community. I was earlier part of the BMA community as well, for a good time. So I think these things give you a very different exposure. So institutes and study teams banning them, what is your call on that? I mean, what should one do when something is happening of this sort?
Okay, so I'll tell you, certain professions, they do not allow marketing of their services. Like, I mean, lawyers and all, they are not allowed to do marketing that legal services are available and all. This is a kind of their code of conduct. Now, if you look at on the other side, communities or platforms like BNI, I don't have any grudge against them, but then their foundational understanding is I do something for you and then you have to return the favor, you do something for me. And that is where there may be a potential breach of certain code of conduct, and that is how this guideline would have been issued, right? So it would be in line with the professional code of conduct. So definitely we need to view the profession what we are in and abide by the code of conduct of that profession. Am I able to answer your query?
Yes, I mean, the answer which I get from you right now is that, if my profession has that, for example, that is going to be my profession. So if my profession is barring me from being part of community, so I won't be able to be a part of it
So you can be part of
to
the
a
community,
certain
but
extent.
not communities where in violation of that code of conduct is the basis of operation.
Okay, okay.
So
So, okay.
the code of the basis of BNI is networking, and networking is
Right.
constituted by ICAI as business development, which is in contravention with their basic code of ethics. Now, all this is debatable, but
Okay.
right now they have given this based on their existing code of ethics. I visualize in time to come, even that
Correct.
will change. It will change because I guess it's
Oh,
always, it will change, is my prediction, because I would always love to interact in business with somebody with whom I am comfortable with. I think that comfort has to be there for greater effectiveness. But very often, comfort is misunderstood in the Indian context as canvassing for business. Haven't you heard this before, that I will get this order because mera mama wo company mein kaam karta hai? This is what is canvassing. This is what is trying to get business by dubious means. So I think what they're doing is keeping in mind their current code of ethics, but hope for the best as time to come, as we've already discussed.
Great.
sure,
Right,
sir,
Chintan?
sure. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
I guess we have covered all the questions. Does anyone would like to ask a question? We'll take last question. Okay, great. Thanks everyone. Thanks for participation. And I would request, do we have Manav around? Manav, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm right here. Hi.
Okay, so Manav, on behalf of TMI community and all participants, if you can extend vote of thanks to the forum and Professor Mani.
Sure, sir. Okay, sir, thank you so much. It was a very valuable and very good session that we have. And the best part was that it was very interactive in nature. Sir, you were asking about last questions. Actually, just something came up to my mind. Mani, sir, given a choice, let's say you were on the education board and you had to bring out some systemic changes, what would you do?
Well, my first take would be that we should allow multidisciplinary courses, and
Okay.
these should be carefully thought about. And I would like to offer a buffet in the education process. I don't want to give a thali, if you understand what I'm saying now.
Yeah, I got exactly, but if you can elaborate still.
So I would like to, as I said, I would like to emphasize the examples which I gave you. Like till recently, say about 10 years ago, students who pursued chartered accountancy didn't have courses in general management and communication skills. Now it has come. So that's a positive change. We want to bring in more changes like this. As I said, medical professionals should learn counseling skills, skills in psychology, which is not happening today. So these are the kinds of multidisciplinary skills which we want to do. Similarly, students who want to study architecture, I think it's good enough for them to do physics and maths. Chemistry is not mandated. Now, these are kinds of micro issues, which of course I have multiple opinions, but these are some examples of multidisciplinary and giving that buffet so that students can study courses which are more meaningful for them to build their careers.
So in a sense that, let's say ABC are primary skills that you have to learn, and then there is another additional जो आप कोई भी उठा सकते हो. For example, as a chartered accountant, if I want to take up NLP or psychology or counseling, I have a choice of doing that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think that model is there in Western countries, right? Because I'm not sure of it. It exists in universities like Columbia for
It's
all
existing even in India, but in a very minority percentage. Okay, these are called schools of liberal education. They're very few. It has to become a way of life is what we are proposing.
Okay. So thank you so much. This was actually quite a good session, and there was really a different perspective towards education itself, because I was against the system. but you gave a lot of positives to this system as well in this session. So thank you so much.
So thanks everyone. Thanks for joining in for the webinar. Thanks Manav, thanks Mani sir for your time and guidance. We come to the end, and then next weekend on 24th of October, we are going to have our next event, which is on how to make a website in less than an hour. So please register in case if you haven't registered, and we look forward to meet you in the next event. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone. Have a great evening and Sunday ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, sir. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.